Humans, capable of splitting the atom and adventuring into space, standing at the pinnacle of the animal kingdom, having dominance that spans the globe. But what exactly makes us humans different from the millions of other animals that inhabit this planet? Is it our ability to use tools, our use of language, our reasoning ability, or creation of art, or perhaps our use of government? What truly makes us feel that we are so different? Humans are the most intelligent animals on the earth, and as such we tend to believe that intelligence is what separates us from the rest of the animals. One of the major cornerstones of our enhanced intelligence is our capability of making and using tools. Entering the Stone Age was a very important time in human history as our ancestors began to use tools to hunt and survive. Homo habilis, one of the earliest humans' main characteristic is the fact that they used tools, differing them from their ancestors like Australopithecus. Orangutans, though, have been found to use tools like sticks to hunt, fish, and bugs. Chimpanzees have been found to use sticks and rocks to attack not only each other, but defend themselves against predators. Both of these examples are apes, which humans fall under as well. However, there are animals that are very distantly related that use simple tools, such as crows. Crows have both advanced tool use and tool manufacturing skills. Crows will use sticks or even wire to form a tool to extract insects from tree bark. While these animals are only capable of using simple tools, that doesn't mean that's all they're capable of. After all, 3 million years ago, that's all humanity was capable of. And look at us now. Language is quite possibly the greatest tool humans have ever created. As what good is knowledge if you can't pass it on to others? People tend to associate language with human identity and believe that it is what separates us from animals. However, the other great apes are also capable of language. While they can't use spoken language, mostly due to their vocal limitations, they can use sign language. Some famous examples are Washu the chimpanzee, who was the very first animal to be taught sign language, and Koko the gorilla, who mastered over 1,000 signs and understood nearly 2,000 spoken words. Koko had such a great understanding of sign language that she could combine them to create new meaning. Researchers have also found that chimps, gorillas, bonobos, and orangutans have their own form of sign language, within which contain over 150 different gestures being found to convey different meanings. Dolphins have been found to use a form of verbal communications. Scientists have found that dolphins each have their own unique and identifying whistle that they use similarly to how we use names. They use their whistle to identify themselves to other members of a pod and to get a response from the other dolphins to identify themselves. They also use vocal communication to hunt and trap schools of fish. Dolphins can learn to imitate the whistle of other members of their pods, though the reasoning isn't clear. Certain species of birds are capable of learning and using human speech, with African gray parrots having some of the most notable accomplishments.
How many?
Alex the gray parrot was the first
That's
bird to
right.
ever
You're a good
demonstrate an
boy.
understanding of spoken
No,
words and how to
sweetheart.
use
No,
them.
you can't go back yet.
Alex learned over 100
You gotta
words to identify objects, colors, materials, and actions, and knew
Do you want some
50
more? Or are you
individual
just
object
asking to
names. He
interrupt?
could count up to 6,
You just
and
asking to
even had an
interrupt.
understanding
I
of the
know.
concept of zero.
I know.
Even bees have demonstrated a basic but structured form of communication in the form of dance. Bumblebees will perform what is called a waggle dance to inform the other bees of location of flowers. In the waggle dance, they will walk in a straight line while waggling, then turn around to the beginning of the line and do it all over again. The distance of this waggle run indicates the distance to the flower. The bees are aware of which direction is up inside of their hive, and the angle from which they perform the waggle run is the angle at which the flowers are from the sun. While other animals have more simplistic and not always verbal forms of communication, they still demonstrate the capability to convey information that is understood by other members of their species, which is effectively a language. Humans' advanced reasoning skills are what has allowed us to get to the modern day technology that we have. Humans are especially good at finding patterns in the natural world and use that information to find solutions to problems. While most other animals have at least some form of basic problem-solving capabilities, there are a few that can match that of even human children. Octopuses are a prime example of that. Not only are their bodies flexible, but so are their minds. They're the most intelligent invertebrates, and even among vertebrates and mammals, they're still considered some of the most intelligent creatures on the planet. Octopuses have shown their intelligence time and time again. They are capable of solving mazes and puzzles. On several occasions, they have shown the capability of forethought by planning escapes and successfully pulling them off. They also use objects like coconuts or discarded shells as shelters from predators like eels and sharks. Crows also have an incredible ability to solve problems. They show great understanding of the natural world. They have an understanding about objects increasing the height of water and use stones to gain access to food suspended in water in a test tube. They also have an understanding of mass and that more mass on one side of a level make that side lower. Rats have an advanced understanding of cause and effect relationships. An experiment was ran where scientists would play a sound and give the rat food, causing that rat to believe that the sound is what causes the food. Then they would introduce a light and flash the light every time the sound played and gave the rat food, causing the rat to believe that the light is what caused both the sound and the food. However, when they gave the rat a button that when it pressed, it caused the light to flash, the rat did not expect the food because it understood that it was the cause of the flashing light. This cause and effect relationship is what people use to make their everyday decisions. Another aspect of our advanced intelligence is our creativity. Throughout the course of human history, we have had a desire to create art, from the cave paintings of the Neanderthals, to the carvings in Mesopotamia, to Greek statues, to the Renaissance paintings. Humans love art, and we pride ourselves on it. However, humans are not the only ones capable of it. Chimps, orangutans, and even elephants will make art. While most of the paintings look like random splotches of paint, the animals are still painting on how they feel. While they may not be deliberately trying to depict anything, they're still creating art with emotion. Some elephants have been trained in how to paint not only trees and grass, but also themselves. Well, it's hard to say whether they would learn how to paint representative pictures without human intervention. It nevertheless shows the capability of these animals. Even less intelligent animals create art, like the white-spotted pufferfish, who creates intricate and detailed patterns in the sand to attract a mate. All of these animals demonstrate some basic comprehension of art similar to that of a 2 to 3 year old child, and given more time into researching how to teach them how to paint, there's no telling just how good they could get. Humans are social animals, but we also desire peace and order. These desires are what many historians believe is the reason people created governments in the first place. People don't typically associate governments with animals. However, many animals have shown very similar governance styles to those found throughout human history. Bees, who notoriously have a single queen, but the entire hive works to keep alive and producing eggs. The queen is the leader and the most important part of any bee colony. However, bees will sometimes overthrow their queen if they find them to not be meeting their needs. A major example of this is if the queen isn't producing enough eggs. The worker bees will raise a new queen and get rid of the old one. On rare occasions, if a beekeeper introduces a queen that isn't related to the queenless colony, the bees will swarm and kill the outsider queen, similar to how many times throughout human history the common people will overthrow royals that they believe to be working against them. Red deer have been found to have a democratic system. When red deer are grazing and want to move on to another area, they will lift their heads up to alert the rest of the herd that they are ready to move on. But the herd will only move once about 60% of the herd is ready. Chimpanzees demonstrate simple politics by forming alliances to gain power inside their community, as opposed to just gaining power through strength and violence. They form allies by gaining trust through acts like sharing food, grooming, and protecting from predators. They show great understanding of gaining political or social influence through compassion and gaining support from others. This is a clear use of political strategies that humans use to gain influence, the only difference being at the scale at which it's done. While humans may think of ourselves as above other animals, there's truly no single ability that differentiates us. It's rather the combination of tool use, lingual skills, reasoning, art, and government, as well as the degree to which we are capable of using them, that truly makes us humans.